All right, welcome back, Future of Podcast. I'm joined by Finestro.
What's
Got
going
here with
on?
me. How you feeling today?
Good, man. Thanks for having me.
No problem. What are we talking about today? Let them know.
Future of rap, music business, and whatever other topics you want to get into. We can go into whatever, man.
All right. Well, I'm with all that, and I think the first thing I want to get into was what we were just talking about before we started filming, and this
Okay.
idea of ownership, owning trademarks, and setting up like an actual business. So let's start with your business, Ill Entertainment. How did you go? What is the purpose of that? What is that business and brand doing? And how did you go about legally setting that up?
So, Ill Entertainment is my music business. I officially started it a little over a year ago, I think, but I had the logo from like 3 years ago. And I've been messing around with it for a while. Basically, it's my management business. So my goal is always to develop that into an agency where I manage so many artists and we can act as like an independent label with connections. So obviously, people know like not a lot of money comes in at first when you're first starting off, especially in management when you're only getting 15% or less in my case. So, I'm not balling off the business or anything, but I figured I'd get that set up legally so that it's like less stress so I can make more moves. It's more legitimate when I approach artists that I have a real business, and it allows me to do more in the online world and in sense of marketing. And like when money comes in, it's easier. Okay, so now I have a place to put it. Or if I want to start something else like my Scholars and Ballers podcast, now I have an umbrella business to put it under. But the real LLC is actually something, it's another name, and Ill Entertainment is my DBA, doing business as. So I registered that. It was kind of a long process. And yeah, the trademark actually cost me more money overall, which a lot of people won't realize. The business didn't cost me a lot, but there's a lot of shit that I haven't set up yet. Like I haven't opened up my business bank account because I haven't broke even on anything yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's important just as far as like legitimacy of when you talk to people.
So when somebody's trying to start to do that for themselves and create their own LLC, what's like the first step?
It depends on what resources you have or what you want to do first. It always helps to already be doing shit in your field or within your business before you start going after it. But I mean, to be honest with you, bro, like we're millennials technically. I went on LegalZoom, and that's how I did it. So I did most of it through LegalZoom. There's a lot of additional fees. It could definitely save you money if you go directly to the town hall or the town clerk. But there's books on it. You can Google it. There's some different steps. I mean, you basically need to make sure the name isn't being used in your state. You got to state like the use of your business or like the purpose or how you guys are going to make money. It's always good to have a business plan, especially if you're going to need to get a loan from a bank. You need a business plan. And just always make moves under that name already. It always helps your case if you already have the social medias for your name and shit like that. But to be honest, in terms of what to do, there's lists out there you can look up and do in whatever order. A lot of it has to do with going to your town hall. Or even your town public library has information on this everywhere. To be honest with me, I hit up LegalZoom. That's what I see on the commercials. Sometimes it was more frustrating, like when I'm on the phone with them dealing with customer service. There's a lot of back and forth. There's a lot of shit you need to verify. There's a lot of fees. So it might not be the most efficient way, but that's where I started. So.
Word. So we kind of talked about your background, but I kind of want you to do the 1 minute version, 1.5 minute version of what you've been up to and how you got to this point.
Short version, I'll try to make it quick. I've always been into music. I'm a music nerd for anyone who knows me. Crossover, I started loving business, and it just made sense. So me as someone who's been a musician and cool with music and cool with other people in music, I'm very like well connected. So I figured I want to do something with all my friends that are trying to get involved in this music shit. So I'm a management consultant. I have artists, producers. I'm a part-time podcaster too. Just all around entrepreneur. I don't know which one's going to get me big first, but I trademarked a clothing brand too, Boss Individuals. So I basically have 3 things: Scholars and Ballers, my podcast; Ill Entertainment, my music business; and Boss Individuals, my brand. Yeah.
Word. So I want to get into networking because I feel like that's just such a strong point that follows all these things that you talked about. But first of all, I want to know, do you mess with like Ty Lopez, or when you say entrepreneurship now in like the younger space of like our demographic, I think the people that come to mind are like Ty Lopez, Gary Vee, people like that. Do you mess with any of them?
Yeah. To be honest, I don't know who Ty Lopez is. I might.
Okay.
Like, it would look familiar if I saw him.
Yeah.
Gary Vee definitely, like, everyone knows him. Like, there's a bunch of
Ty Lopez is this dude who ran a lot of Facebook ads. Like 3 years ago, he had this like, hey, here in my garage. He's like dude with the glasses, and he's like, I got all these Lambos, and I also got all these books.
Yep. I know what you're saying. Okay.
That video.
But yeah, I mean, Gary Vee for sure. Like, he has inspirational stuff.
Any other like online mentors or like
Grant Cardone is good.
Yeah. I was
Gary
actually going to mention him very specifically.
Who else off the top of my head? Dame Dash for me. I love Dame Dash.
Oh yeah.
He has really cool videos if you watch them through, just to hear him tell stories about what specifically happened in the music business, how it was, and what he did, especially about ownership and being independent. So Dame Dash, Gary Vee, Grant Cardone, Scooter Braun is one of my biggest inspirations.
Dude, I love Scooter,
Scooter.
especially because he came from Atlanta and like the club scene. Yeah. And he came up under Dame, which I bet a lot of people don't realize. Like Dame kind of taught him how to manage younger artists. JD, and then of course, JD is who?
Which is almost, a lot of people get them confused. Jermaine Dupri, the music producer.
Oh, yeah. That's what I meant.
Yeah. Very kind of similar in some ways, though. Like, they know of each other and have done business. But yeah, JD, he did come up under him, and it was a different wave, different time, and he kept up with it and adapted, and his business is doing awesome now. I mean,
it's
he's
crazy.
Super successful now,
I think he's probably like in the world of management, like the most like sought after person
one
to
of
be.
One of my favorite
you know what I mean?
Influencers for sure. Sometimes it's hard. Artists are awful to work with. I love all you guys, but they're all very bad to
everybody has their like the chink in their armor, right?
I hate
it's like
them.
they're just
they know I hate them. That's your boys anyway. You know what I mean? Like, I love them. I'm gonna need them. That's my lifestyle too. But even artists hate artists. They know this. This isn't news.
Right.
Artists hate artists.
Dude. You mess with Token?
I know who it is. I know a lot about him, but I don't listen to his. I don't search his music and click it. But I've seen the videos. I've heard. I'm familiar. Yeah.
He has this dope video, he has this dope song in his latest album where he kind of talks about how like artists are just fake with each other despite the fact that they live the exact same life, and it's such a like contradiction. And I think that's so true. Is like you won't like someone who's too similar to you. It's just very hard. So let's get into networking, man.
Okay.
How has that played a role in your come up? I mean, you kind of glazed over the fact that you were doing a little bit inside of like music production and engineering. But I'm sure that's where it all started in terms of realizing like there's this music space and you want to start talking with other artists and stuff like that.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into it. I mean, obviously it's a good starting point, and as a disclaimer before I get into this, I'm not the master networker. I don't have the biggest network. I'm not the most popular guy. Like, my numbers aren't crazy. All my social medias are fairly new within the past year if they have to do with my music business. So just want to put that out there for everyone who's just going to talk shit and be like, how is Finestro talking about networking? But to answer your question, it's always good to just see what works and what doesn't. I mean, that's what I've been doing. That's the only advice I can give to someone. Oh, I've been in this similar situation where I've seen this work and I've seen this not work. And it depends on how many times you've seen this work and how many times you've seen that not work. So networking, as far as artists go, up-and-coming artists, the biggest thing that comes to mind is just showing up to events that you're not booked for. There's so many egos in the way. I'm not going to go to this show because they didn't book me for it. No, you need to go to that show because they're going to need to see your face, and it's good to get cool with these people. And now they register your face because one day you're going to be on stage and you're going to want them to recognize you. So I think me being at all these shows and just being introduced to people from artists saying, yo, this is Finestro, this is my manager, or yo, this is Finestro, that's helped in terms of networking and referrals. It's just all about who you know and what they say about you. You know what I mean? So a lot of my luck.
Because you get a reputation quick.
Exactly.
If it's something negative, it goes bad for you, and it's something positive, it goes good for you, and like you can get a reputation.
And if you've never had anything negative said about you, I can't trust you. You know what I mean? You're gonna need something bad. Everyone has some. If you don't have haters, you're not doing something right. So any success, the little success I have had, has come from word of mouth and just people being honest about their experiences with me. Hit up Finestro about this because blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? So that's where my successes come from. For as far as artists show up to shows, it's that simple. Like as far as networking goes, just show up. Yeah.
Okay. So we're here in Western Mass. Who do you like in Western Mass? Like who's up and coming that you think, oh yeah, this person has what it takes for like their work ethic.
You mean as far
like
as
their
like
music.
Artists?
Yeah, as far as artists, like people making music.
Artists, hip hop artists, Western Mass. Another disclaimer: there's a lot, so I don't want to miss anyone and have people mad at me. But I mean,
don't name everyone. Don't sit here and name 20 people. I want to know who you like.
Like my top ones that I actually listen to.
Yes.
I listen to Austin Fair. That's my boy. I listen to Von Suave.
I like both of them. I like Austin a lot.
Yeah, I listen to Austin Fair. I listen to Von Suave. I already told Von I'm probably his biggest fan. I listen to SK a lot.
Did you see my SK interview?
Yeah, that was your best interview. Career, advice, if I can give any, like as far as content goes and like legendary content, that was your best
Thank
video.
you.
That was the most interested, like pulled in I was.
Oh, wow.
Probably because of his stories about upper level
Exactly.
artists. But yeah, I'm friends with a lot more. And of course, anything Hetrix is involved in off bat, I'm with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and there's a lot of people connected to that, so I'd rather just say Hetrix so I don't miss any names. You know what I mean? But that's the homie. Hold up. Actually, don't let me get by this because I'm thinking we're in Springfield right now.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking this area, but when we talk Western Mass,
I
do listen to a lot of DJ Lucas.
Okay.
And I got
that's an interview I want a lot.
Same. But we'll get there. He's a cool dude. And my young boys in Amherst going crazy right now too. Chris Focus and Walter Arcane. I had to shout them out just because like they're my homies and they're doing their thing for sure. But yeah, what I really listen to, like when I go on my phone and I search and I click listen, it's gonna be, as far as Western Mass, it's gonna be SK, Austin Fair, Von Suave, DJ Lucas. Like those are the artists I'm gonna like search their name.
Word. Yeah, if you haven't listened to Von Suave Trap Phone Ring, like that song, song like just sold me like crazy.
It gets better.
I listened to that. I listened to that the day I met you at that show, and really? I was just like, I never met him or nothing, and I was just like, like it cool. Just went up. Like
it's cool.
When things click, it's crazy.
I'm very excited about his new shit. I got the,
right. You get the inside edge when you're an insider
scoop,
like that.
And I listen to it often. It's really good. So yeah, stay tuned for his new shit.
Yo, big shout out to Von Suave.
Yeah.
He just did this as well.
Did he?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I got mine out first though.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
All right, so kind of getting back to networking. Let's say that you're trying to reach out to someone like for an interview and you don't have that kind of built-in relationship that you do in a lot of cases. What do you like to do? How do you like to approach something like that?
So if I'm trying to interview someone that I'm not like cool with,
right,
that I haven't chilled with,
right.
It depends. Like anyone who knows me, like I don't know when this is gonna come out, but I'm early on in my interviewing stages. And it's a way different. If you've ever watched my interviews, it's a different style interviews. Like it's not like question answer.
It reminds me of like Zane Lowe, because like you're in the studio.
Okay, good looks.
And like you guys kind of have a conversation.
Yeah.
That type of thing.
So anyway, to answer your question, I'm early on, so I haven't experienced a lot of that yet. I'm right now using the people close to me, but in my few experiences with that, I would just not be annoying, because people hate that, and then just bring value to the table quickly so you don't waste anyone's time. Just let them know, like,
Yeah.
yo,
This is
this is who I am. This is what I'm reaching out to you for. This is who I know that you know that we have in common. If you want to reach out to them and fact check anything, and what's up? So that's it's been successful so far. I have a few people that like agreed to do my podcast that I haven't scheduled yet that I'm like super hyped for. But yeah,
I'm excited. I want to come and just sit in on one.
Yeah, go for it. It's so funny you mentioned that.
Because it's an Amherst. Like, I want to see that whole setup. Like,
it's a vibe.
I need to take my setup. I'm thinking about the ways I'm going to take my brand to the next level. And a lot of it has to do with just like making the promotional material and stuff. I want to show you my my new logo after, but
oh word, yeah,
like
I'll check that out.
That's a big piece of it. Is just like people have always said, oh, you need like a 2-camera setup and stuff like that. So I want to see that other.
Yeah, come by sometime. It's so funny because we've only recorded about 4 or 5 episodes or something like that, and like each episode, Walter Kane, the audio engineer for it, he always comes up to me right beforehand, like, yo, I got a few friends that like, heard you're doing this and want to come through and like, chill outside the camera view for it. Is that cool? Can they come? And there's always like a little group of people that like will come.
You always have like an audience.
Yeah, a little
That's
audience.
Tight.
Yeah.
That's tight.
And it doesn't always have to do with me, like, I'm so whatever. But sometimes people already have sessions or they want to stay because it looks cool, or they want to show up early because they heard about what we're doing and it sounds cool. So it's cool. Yeah, come by whenever.
I have a question about that.
Tomorrow night, if you want, we have one.
Okay.
I know it's a little last minute.
I might be able to make it
tomorrow night, and it's my first one where I'm not interviewing an artist.
You talked a lot about keeping it real, and this is almost insider networking, that kind of relationship type thing, and because what you're talking about is creating like a long-term business relationship with a new person in a lot of cases. So, why is keeping it real so important?
It's going to be the fast track to your success. I say this all the time to artists. Artists are actually the best actors in the world. And it's not always bad or negative. They're really good at portraying something on a song because it sounds good. And there's actually nothing wrong with that. I'm not super against that. It's just easier and things will work faster if you're keeping it real. You can be lying to yourself all day. The quality is very bad. I can't say the song is trash, but the quality is bad. So you could lie to yourself, but the quicker you're more real with yourself, the quicker things are going to start clicking for you. Another thing about being authentic I wanted to bring up that I see with artists a lot is living out their raps after the song rather than beforehand. So what I mean by that is rappers aren't, when they get in the booth and they sing or rap their song, they're not always living that life, and that's whatever. But because they listen to that song after, they want to fulfill that thought of, oh, maybe I do live this life. So you'll see them trying to do the shit after the song is made, not beforehand.
Not before. That wasn't and in there.
That is dangerous.
Of course, that's dangerous, right? Because that's not, art is supposed to imitate life, but then you have.
And you could tell, I could tell, because they're not even using the slang right sometimes.
Right.
I'm like, nah.
They adopted it.
Yeah, but
it's an adoption.
It's just easier, especially with.
So how do you fix that though, right? Because like it's so easy to make kind of like this like fun song that's just like.
Well, people don't know who they are.
Okay.
They're not doing this on purpose.
I agree with that.
They honestly think that they're a certain way. Like they honestly think that they're popping, or they honestly think that they're gangster. But like when you're young,
so what are we gonna do? Are you gonna put an age restriction on how old you need to be to put out a rap song? It's like you're not in touch with yourself enough.
A lot of these people are real to a certain extent. There are just certain things they're not, and that's fine. What I'm saying is the up and coming artists, based on what age they are, when you look at it logically, they literally don't know who they are.
Yeah.
So
you're a teenager.
So
because think about it. Where are we? We're in our like mid-20s, right?
Exactly.
Do we know what we want to do with our lives?
Maybe a little more now compared to what I used to.
Imagine how is it different from the way you were thinking 5 years ago?
So different. And the thing is they're listening to rappers that saying, okay, this is cool. I want to be this. And this is how they know to do it. Okay, well, if I like a song that sounds like this, I'm going to put out a song that sounds like this. So people are attracted as fans to authentic shit. So no matter who you are, if you're super nerdy or if you're super into whatever, if you rap about something that's a little slightly different than what everyone else raps about or in a different way, people are going to be attracted to it.
Yeah, that's what makes you stand out.
Yeah. There's rappers we could think of right now that have their own little thing that's a little different than most rappers, and that's why we love them. So the quicker you can figure out who you are and what your thing is, the quicker people are going to be attracted to your music is what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Look at Larry June. Who else is talking about oranges? You know what I mean? Right. And like shit like that. So, yeah, that's how I feel about that.
Tight. What do you want to talk about next? You had your little go-to list.
A lot.
I'll throw it to you.
I don't want to waste any time. Let's keep it all good content for this, so people are interested when listening. We can keep going on the subject of like, and I'm just thinking about management and like advice I try to give artists.
Right, advice. That's what I want this to be too, like a learning tool.
Okay. Let's keep talking about when you're up and coming, trial and error.
Yeah. So what's that trial and error look like?
It looks like you need to.
I think that's what scares people away from just being an artist, right? This idea of I'm gonna fail.
You have to.
And you have to.
Yeah.
You literally have to. And that is scary. And I think there's this point you get to of like, I'm gonna. You can't set yourself up to fail where you're going to fall on your face. You need to set yourself up to fail where you fall on your butt, right?
Yeah. There's two types of artists. There's artists that are developing, and then there's developed artists. And just because you're developed doesn't mean you're big, popping, balling. It just means that sonically you know what you're doing. You're developed. You have a good stage presence, and then there's developing. Now, if you're an up-and-coming artist, the quicker you can realize – if you're self-aware enough to know that you're still developing, you're already way more ahead than your peers. Because 90% of the artists that are still developing think they're developed. And the reason why it's good to recognize that is because it opens you up to taking advice from people who are developed. So a lot of artists I see are blocked off. Like they're actually getting really good advice from people and they're not listening. Or they listen to people who have no idea what they're talking about because they've never been in the scene. And then they fall on their face. So, like, if you're able to know that you're developing, you're more willing to take the engineer's advice in the studio when he tells you you're too far away from the mic. Or, like, little things like that. Or you can take the producer's advice when he says, yo, when the beat comes in, you got to come in on here. Or, yo, do you know how to count bars? I'll show you. Or even as far as stage presence, yo, you want to get the crowd involved, do this, like... It's okay to be developed, and that's what I want to focus in on, and where I see the music business going in the future.
Is that where you think you're gonna Is that where you think you're gonna shine? Is like
I can't do anything for developed artists. And they don't need me. They don't need me at all.
Isn't it weird that I think there was this idea of artist development, and that's why. The original labels used to sign you for multiple albums because they don't expect you to be developed on the first album, but they want to build with you and stuff.
The majors used to develop.
It feels like they fell off of the development
now
stage.
It's the opposite.
Right.
They pick you up when you're hot and they try to push you again and make the money. I'm focused on development because it's where I can help the most, and that's where someone should be the most coachable. I'm not balling. I don't have a super awesome portfolio to show you that I'm a whatever. So if you're trusting me as an up-and-coming manager, you know what I mean, then I need to trust that you'll be open to listening to something. You know what I mean? It goes both ways.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It really is a back and forth of like, we just see the up-and-coming artists because they're the ones out there showing themselves. We don't see the up-and-coming videographers or the up-and-coming photographers or managers or up-and-coming podcasters. So that's what I want to bring to light, and that's where I get on it. If someone's developed already, I still want to stay cool with them for other opportunities in the future. But unless I have a budget or like a huge Rolodex of contacts, I can't do anything for them because their music is going to speak for themselves and the people are going to be hitting them up directly. You know what I mean? I can only help the people who are still developing. It's just very hard for artists to admit that they're still developing. Because you could be at it for 3-4 years and you could be at the tail end of it where you're almost there, but you're not all the way. It's like it's close. Like there's people who think it's a win if they make a song and I don't cringe. Like that's where the bar is set. Like, oh, as long as you can listen to the whole thing, without wanting to hit skip or cringe, then it's fire. And it's like, damn, that's where the bar is at. Just being able to listen to the song. You know what I mean?
Versus like a great song.
Where I'm vibing to it. Yeah, exactly. So there's levels to it. I'm not better than anyone. I don't have the
levels
keys.
to it.
Yeah.
That's what's so crazy. So I want to talk about where we are in particular, Massachusetts, because it's a very complex ecosystem, right? We have Boston, which is like a big city, and we have had in the last 3 or 4 years like some bigger artists to break through. A Michael Christmas, a Cousin Stiz, a Joyner Lucas. Shout out to them. But then there's also this huge wave of like up and coming talent, these developing artists. Mm-hmm. What do you think the state needs to to really tip those dominoes and, like you said, go from like good to great?
That's a tough question. To answer it directly, what does the state need?
Yeah,
probably more venues.
Okay.
More platforms.
Yeah, that's what I feel that a little bit too. But then I think it's hard because you look at a lot of these areas, like right when you get out of Springfield, right? It's a lot of woods and a lot of highway, and it would be kind of tough to do a venue because it involves a lot of travel.
It's just about doing what you can with what you have.
For sure.
If we're looking at it like
what venues do you like a lot?
I actually just saw a dope one last night in Feeding Hills for the first time.
What's it called?
I honestly, because I'm in competition with people watching this, I'm gonna keep that in my back pocket so I can book it first.
You know, it's funny. I think I know what you're talking about, and I think I know like
I don't
the
want
owner.
I don't want people to just start booking that spot,
and they want like hip hop artists. Which is,
I mean, it's probably not a secret. It's a small area. You could probably look it up and find a show. Right. But anyway,
if you're really curious. But you know what's crazy? It's like so like the curiosity, the people who are gonna go dive deep and stuff. That's so rare. So right away when you told me like, oh, I watched your videos, I'm like, oh god.
Yeah, of course I watched.
This is the guy. Like
I love it. I mean,
that's
it's content.
That's a huge way to set yourself apart.
Yeah, it's good.
Get curious.
Any content that's good, I want to consume.
Dude, I want to show you some stuff after. Some stuff I don't. Just like other people in like the larger northeast, like there's a lot of stuff going on.
What do you mean,
just like other people doing the type of stuff that we're doing. Yeah, but low key.
Word. Well,
developing like
I might have heard
behind the scenes.
We'll have to
quite possibly. Yeah, I've got I'm thinking you've heard of some of them, but like I just feel like there's almost no way you've heard of all of them.
You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised.
I really appreciate how cocky you are about this stuff because like.
What I decided recently is just to keep it as real as possible.
Yeah.
And I never claim to be perfect. I never claim to know everything.
Right.
I just claim to talk confidently about my experiences.
Right.
So you could have a completely different story. I'm going to answer your other question real quick, then we can talk about whatever you want about the venues. Obviously,
What's your favorite venue? Yeah.
Love the Sonia.
Oof, I really like that place.
Middle East is classic. Like, you know, we've all been there. We all love Middle East, but like, Sonia is like newer, fresher. That's gonna be bigger. Hawks and Reed out here is like the main one that like I've seen to be legit. Like they have different levels, different stages.
So legit and so good at like just such a community mainstay. I feel like everyone in the community goes there. They like set the trend.
To be honest, as far as dope venues, if Mullins Center in UMass was more accessible, that would be like it. That would be big. I've been there a few times, and I haven't been to the wherever people perform at MGM yet, but I would imagine that to be dope too.
It's pretty cool. I work there. I know about that.
You were telling me.
That's a place that we need to work on.
I don't know if you've ever
seen
anyone perform there or what that looks like, but I'm sure that it would look.
Are you talking about Mass Mutual or are you talking about their little spot?
MGM can host shows. I don't know if they've done it yet, but I'm pretty sure that there is a spot within MGM where someone can do some type of performance.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure.
They have like a smaller Armory building, and then they have the arena across the street where like Cher's going to play. But then they have the smaller thing. They have the 300 cap room.
There's a dope spot in Providence I've been to too. I think it's called Lupo's. Mm-hmm. That's like their famous spot out there.
Okay. Tight.
Yeah.
That covers it, dude. I like what do I like? I had a good time at Brighton Music Hall. I went to see Comethazine over there, and that was like, it was crazy. And then this guy that I want to personally shout out, Jay the Youngin, like, he's like super slept on Louisiana rapper that actually just streams really well and is just one of these people that doesn't get a lot of like media, like blog type attention, but like he's crazy. And their show was crazy.
Damn,
really good.
Dope.
I want to keep going with like the marketing and branding type stuff. What do you really suggest to these artists that you're consulting for that they really get on top of in terms of that kind of thing?
It really depends on what I see they're doing and what I see not working.
Right. Back to that trial and
error. It all
error.
goes down to being consistent as far as what your brand is across all platforms, but it doesn't always have to do with numbers. It's about what you can do to get those numbers eventually. Mm-hmm. So what I suggest for them oftentimes is post something. You know what I mean? It's really that simple. If you don't post something, just post something and let them know who you are. For example, you're a brand new artist and you just post a song. I'm not clicking on the song. I don't care. If you're a brand new artist and you say, I have a song coming out May 17th, why would I click on that song? I know nothing about you. I don't know if you're cool. I don't know if you're whack. You have to let the people know what type of person you are. Let them in on your life a little bit. Because once they feel like they can relate to you, that's when they're going to want to listen to you. So, like, I want to shout out one of my artists, Rain, R-V-I-N. He started his Instagram early. So he was early on it, and he's the type where he had I'm pretty sure he had the workout and the gym videos. So, his numbers went up fast early. So what he did, my suggestion to him was utilize, the stories and let people in on your life. Let them know who you are. If you have all these people watching, utilize it. And then when you do post a song or promote a song, they'll be more likely to click on it. So it's hard because it's practice what you preach. And I'm trying to
You're trying to do that.
I'm trying to get into that more myself. Yeah.
It is hard.
It's hard.
I've had trouble with that too. It's just days go by when you get into it and you get busy and you're if you do a little trip and stuff, you're like, oh damn, I haven't posted in 3-4 days.
And support other people.
Damn.
You don't need to support. I mean, you don't need to post if you're, favorite tweets, retweet and quote with your opinion. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Don't be afraid to
borrow that energy. That's what I want to do now too. I want my channels to be almost like the shockwave, right? Mm-hmm. I want to feature 50% Massachusetts artists, then 30% New England, and then 10% New York, Philadelphia, Jersey, Carolinas, DC. And then 5% just the bit, the ultra big new poppin' artists.
Yeah, I never thought of it like that. A lot of what it is people are just afraid to put their opinions out there because they haven't been validated yet. So the people who aren't afraid to react to something on Twitter or Instagram, those are the people that are going to be bold and get likes and clicks and follows. So that's what I've been doing lately. I'm just putting it out there fuck it. No one told me to post about how I didn't like this album, but I'm going to just say it in case once people start trusting my opinion, that's where I'm going to get more business and more people are going to hit me up. Well, what'd you think about this then? You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's kind of the business I'm in.
Become that inside of, and that's happened with me too, just becoming that inside of my friend circle. And I realized there's kind of that law of attraction where it's you need to be all about the things that you want in life. Cause so much of life is filled with the BS of family obligations and work and all that stuff. But it's why don't you just really live in and become obsessed with the thing that you say you want? Yeah. And that's the quickest way into that. And I think the rap community especially needs more thought leaders. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the thought leaders inside of the rap community are kind of just super established and a little less interested in the new wave. So it needs that fresh crop in the new generation.
I think a lot of people's first excuse to that comes to mind is, oh, well, what if people don't like it? What if they reject me? What if they hate on me? Well, good, because it starts a
Get
conversation.
back in close to that mic.
It starts a conversation. You
Yes.
know what I mean? So, like,
I love it. Oh, man, there's this dude on YouTube, and he literally put, and I love Playboi Carti. He's one of my favorite rappers right now. I post him, like, every week at least. He put Playboi Carti as his number one worst album of 2018, Die Lit, and I was like,
damn.
I was absolutely, I was like, that's crazy.
What channel was this?
I don't want to say right now. And,
Okay,
and then like, he just, I looked into like his content and his, like work output, I guess you would call it. And just the really interesting things that he's doing on social.
So
and I was like,
that opinion more now?
yes,
No? Okay.
I love that opinion. I'm like, that's great.
Yeah.
Okay, you're somebody with this music palette. I understand that. And like, I
you're not
still
a
want to
random-
like collab with you.
Yeah. As long as you're not like a random hater that just rolls out of bed one morning and it's like, oh, fuck this. It's like, no, that I can't respect. But if you're involved and you have your hands in the shit and you're really out here and in tune with what's going on, like I can't count you out. I got to get to know you. You know what I mean? So if there's anyone out there watching this that hasn't met me yet, hit me. I'd love to talk. I have business for you. If you're an artist, I have business for you. Or if you're a producer.
Word.
Whatever.
I feel that way too. I think there's some great producers out here. Do you watch Producer Grind podcast?
I don't. No.
Oof, it's so good. They're out of Atlanta, but they're kind of doing like the interview. I feel like it's very needed. Like the new school of producers. Mm-hmm. Producers are becoming the artist, right? Mm-hmm. In a way where their brand matters more than ever, and getting their face out there is important. And I feel like this area has some great producers as well. And I definitely am trying to be in touch with as many producers as possible. So if you're a producer, hit me up because I want to talk. So let's get into marketing. You talked about consistency, but there's also this idea of like making the content and then the distribution of this content. How do you think about that?
Like a rollout plan and like strategizing and all that. I would say think about it as much as you want to be involved in it. Like it goes back to being real with yourself. If you know for a fact that you're an artist and you love writing music and recording music and performing music, and you know that when it comes to this rollout, you don't know what the best way, the worst way, you don't even care, you just want to drop it, that's when it's good to have someone in your corner that will keep it real with you or give you some advice. Literally anybody that has your best interest. If no one has ever told you that anything you've done is trash, then you haven't showed enough people your shit.
For sure.
That's a fact. No, even if you have really good songs. However, on the flip end, there's a lot of artists that love being super involved with their shit that want to plan out their own marketing strategies, and that's fine too. It depends on what you're into. Trying to think of an example. Austin Fair, we talked about. Mm-hmm. That's my boy. He's super involved, and not just him. There's bigger artists that they love that shit. You know what I mean? Like they love coming up with their own rollout plan as long as you know what you're talking about and it makes sense, and however you want to do it. Sometimes I just help execute, which means like they come up with it and there's nothing I could say to sway them.
Yeah.
And now it's just like, okay, are you gonna help me execute this?
Gotta work with it.
It's like, okay, I'll help you. Let's do it. You know what I mean? So I can only put in so many ideas. It really depends on what you're going for, how new are you, and how much does it matter. A lot of these artists, they're overthinking it, and it really doesn't matter. It only matters up to a certain extent or what you're trying to do.
And so I get the sense that you don't think there's this idea of oversaturating the market and putting too much out, right?
I don't know how to answer that. It depends.
It depends on the
There are
artist.
times where I definitely think that you can feel like if you're involved in a scene somewhere, you can feel it.
When
you can see it when we're all on Twitter every day, we're all on Instagram every day. You know what I mean? Like when you see certain things, you can feel it when it's like, okay, right now there's so many artists and so much. Last year, 2018, the summer, how many albums were dropping? I must have missed out on like, you know what I mean? And then with the start of this year, how it slowed down crazy and no one was dropping anything. It's like if someone drops an album, I'm listening to that shit.
right.
You know what I mean? Whereas last summer, it's like I couldn't keep up.
Everybody wants to have
shit.
the summer. Everyone wants to
When
hold down
your
the
favorite
summer like
artist-
Fab.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. When Playboy Cardi, your favorite artist, dropped, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't listen to it first day because I remember when that dropped, there were like 5 others.
He was in the weeds.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like he also got way more love on the back end of being like people like sat with it. There were a lot of albums that people didn't sit with as much, and he had a lot of replay value. He did critically well in like November, December when people were putting out their like best of lists and stuff.
Well, that's why it helps to stick out because even if it does get oversaturated, it's always good to be that person where it's like, okay, but no one can touch this. No one
you're
can
in
sound
your
like
own
this.
lane
Exactly.
in a lot of ways.
It only applies pressure to people who deserve it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so everything happens for a reason. If they're not.
So what was one or two albums that really stuck out for you last year that you really liked?
Oh man, this is a very tough one. It's a loaded one. It goes without saying, and this is documented, so I'm not just saying this now. You can scroll back in my Twitter and find this. Victory Lap was easily number one.
I love Victory Lap too.
Undisputed, and yeah, I don't even need to say anymore.
Right,
now.
and it was for me. Everyone loved this Pusha T album, and I was like, I think it was too short. I feel kind of weird calling it an album, and I definitely put Victory Lap there in terms of like album of the year. Like, it's crazy for him to like really turn the corner, go to the Grammys, like do all these things and feel like the skies have finally opened for you, and then it's like your life is gone. Mm-hmm. So R.I.P. Nipsey Hussle. Like,
yeah, that was definitely top album. And I was saying this, anyone who knows me knows I was saying this. I posted a top 10 albums when the year ended too. You could scroll back, like, yeah, Nipsey Hussle. And then, I mean, Astro World was, you know, that is his own thing. But
Astro World was a cultural event, even more so, because I don't even like going back and listening to a lot of those songs. To be like half of that album, like I don't listen to it as an album anymore, but there's the songs I love on there, and then like just everything he did with the stage show and like that the fandom that he like ascended to is just meteoric.
Yeah, it is.
It's like
I just saw
one
Travis
of one.
Scott do his Astro World show like 2 months ago in Hartford. It was fucking crazy.
He has like the roller coasters.
Yeah, they made
like
a roller
moving
coaster
roller
right there.
coaster set pieces
Yeah.
on his thing. They pushed that show. That show was supposed to happen like
Really?
in November of 2018, and they pushed it because there's so much technical stuff, right? That it's like if the stage isn't working, like
what happened
you're
too
not gonna
is
want to do the
they
show.
sold out a venue and then they needed more. They need more seats. That they moved to the XL theater or whatever. But yeah, man. Besides
Shout out
that,
to him.
I think people are gonna end up, you know, when they start doing the 2018 documentaries and shit. People are gonna go back to Scorpion and Pusha T and get with that too for sure. And at the end of the year, Meek, you know, dropped his legendary shit too. So
shout out to all of them. Let's talk about like social media. And you've kind of talked about how you don't think numbers are all too important and stuff, but what do you think are like good strategies to get numbers up and, you know, not have those be fake numbers? I mean, obviously engagement's really important, but how do you think people need to be connecting and where are they falling short now?
Well, just to clarify myself, numbers are important. They're just not always important.
Right.
They become important over time. But what I would say is, same thing to artists who put music out. As long as your content is really good quality, those numbers will come eventually. It just might not happen super quick. Someone needs to find it, discover it, catch on. You might need to share it with some people.
Right.
You know
And so in this idea of sharing, like, do you think it's a good idea to like boost the posts and stuff? What do you think about getting it to the people that need to see it? How do you create that?
Again, there's so many factors this depends on. So
Right.
like I
It's
would
so
say
weird.
ethically, yeah, there's a lot of different marketing strategies as far as like ad campaigns, and there's a lot of misconceptions that rappers have with certain shit. I'm not for purchasing plays. I'm not for purchasing followers. I'm not for purchasing fake numbers on social media. I'll put that stance out there right now. What I am for is strategic marketing and promotion. If you have a legitimate promotions company that works with other artists that, you know, they'll repost or replay something, you could strategically maneuver around that. That's different than just buying straight numbers. It's complicated because it depends on what you're looking for, what you're going for. If they have services now where if you have a single, you can actually submit it to blogs and labels and DJs, and like you can get a response from them and shit like that around the world. And I've used it, and if they turn it down, they'll tell you why.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. So I would say figure out what your audience is and then where your audience is looking right now, and then get that outlet to post your shit. It might be an elevator post for your music video premiere.
Right.
It could be posting your video
Shout out to
on No
elevator.
Jumper. You know what I mean?
Yep,
It could be anything.
Or playing for him to play his song on live stream.
Yep. Or you could just send it to your homie who's a DJ who's going to play it at this event coming up. You know what I mean? There's so many. It just really depends. And it's always good to have someone in your corner to bounce these ideas off of, because it might be something in front of you the whole time you never realized. Like, yo, doesn't your homie work at this radio station? Or what? You know what I mean?
And it's like, yeah, that's my cousin.
Yeah, it's like, oh, okay.
All right.
You ever thought
I need
about,
him.
Yeah.
Do this for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Networks are weird like that. I would also say something that I try to do a lot now is there, like you said, there's levels to this shit. Mm-hmm. And then everyone sonically, not everyone fits in a bucket, but there's certain people where you can group it out pretty evenly. And then there's the hierarchy within the super niche subgenre that you're talking about. So I like to say, okay, this artist sounds like this bigger artist.
Yeah.
Who are the fans of this bigger artist?
Yeah.
How do I get in touch with them?
Exactly.
And I like Twitter a lot right now.
Yeah.
Are you on Twitter a lot? How do you feel about Twitter?
I am. I have to be like.
Because Twitter's a thinker's space, a clever thinker's space, and I think Instagram's kind of flooded with everything. It's just so popular.
It's just so important to
versus
know what's going on every day.
Twitter is like very information driven, very like meme driven, and then the people with opinions are on Twitter, and that's
daily.
That's what I like.
Yeah, I just need to know what's going on every day and how people are feeling and what moves people are making, so I can do my job.
Okay, so
in order to do that, I need to keep up with this shit. So I might as well,
of course,
put my opinion out there, or like someone's tweet or retweet, and then I use it. It is my hub, and I'm trying to build it up. Again, my numbers are low. Like my numbers aren't high. These are
mine
all social media
too.
Accounts that I started like in 2018.
Also, no. I'm having trouble gaining on Twitter, like a lot.
It happens over time. It's funny because I saw a screenshot on my phone of like November and the amount of followers I had. And in like February, I was like, oh, I have way more than that. I checked, it was the same amount. I'm like, yo, so that means it went up and then down and people unfollowed.
Correct.
And now it builds over time.
Isn't that annoying?
It's like this.
It's so weird.
Up. Yeah.
Well, so if you're out here in Western Mass, who are the people that you need to follow on Twitter? Name like 1 and 2.
Finestro at Ill Entertainment now.
All right.
Yeah, nah, definitely me. Honestly, I don't know, because I shouted out some artists earlier that I listened to, and I'm friends with way more than that. You guys know that. And as far as people you need to follow, I'll tell you this: he's not out here in Western.
But
Mass.
I'm talking about specifically Twitter. And yeah, I think we can open it up to like way more than Western Mass. Yeah.
You need as like an influencer. You need to follow Greg. Greg is on fire. He like has his ear to the streets.
He knows his stuff.
Yeah, he's cool. So it's the artist that I like. I mean, yeah, definitely follow Finestro at @ill_ENT. That's me.
Let's go. I gotta make sure I follow you on Twitter. I'm gonna do that after
I think you do.
I think I do.
Yo, what's mad funny?
Because like I just got back there. Like I was not on Twitter for like the last 3 years, and I just got back on there, and I'm like, whoa, this place is awesome. And I'm a little tired of Facebook. Facebook's got like
I deleted mine permanently.
I hate Facebook, dude. I hate it.
Yo, you would be surprised. Like my numbers are low for followers, but the people who do follow me are like dope.
Tight.
And I get dope DM like requests and shit too. It's
feel
crazy.
that.
But yeah, besides that, like I wouldn't be doing my people right unless I didn't. Obviously, you got to follow Seaside, Seaside the Miracle, and also follow Rain Official 8, RVIN Official 8. They're going crazy out in North Shore right now.
Let's go. North Shore is something I'm not familiar with, but I got to get out there this summer.
Yeah, like
I want to do the whole
area.
tour of Massachusetts this summer. I went to Lowell not too recently, but my boy went out there to work for like Milwaukee Tools. So I had my little stay in Lowell, like right in the center of town, and there's all the like waterfalls and stuff. Yeah, dude, it really is.
Like that's why it's a hard when you're like, oh, where you're from. I'm like, yo, I'm out here. I'm Massachusetts, man.
Sticks.
Like, yeah, I'm out. I lived in all these towns, so yeah, man.
Word. So, is there anything else you want to talk about?
Off the top of my head, nah. I want to apologize for all the rants. I'm very passionate.
That's okay.
I'm very passionate.
I'm with it. Any last shout outs?
I
mean, this whole thing was kind of a shout out. This is the shout out episode.
Because I never had like a platform to explain myself.
Yeah.
So like some people think I'm a manager. Some people think I have a podcast. Like I do both.
But you do both.
Yeah.
Literally.
And this is supposed to be Future Rap. So if any of you have like questions on my opinion about Future, if anything, let me know. Even specific artists. Like, yeah.
Right.
People will just DM me.
That's what I'm going to start doing.
You should. Yo, I answer too. Like people DM me like, yo, like people I never met will be like, yo, I saw this podcast episode. What do you think about labels versus and like I'll answer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's
me
crazy.
Too.
But for plug, yeah, let me plug Scholars and Ballers podcast.
Scholars and Ballers.
Boss Individuals is coming back.
Boss Individual is a clothing brand.
Yes. I put it out there last summer. A lot of you guys have it. It's coming back when money comes back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People don't realize how much that costs.
On the way.
To do merch. But shout out to all the artists out there, man. Good luck with everything. I'm not perfect. I'm not the expert, but hit me. This shit's fun to me. I want to plug, obviously, my artists, Seaside and Rain, Amherst Boys, Chris Focus, Walter Arcane. Everyone I know out here, I'm cool with everyone. So let's keep it pushing, man. And congrats to you. Keep doing your thing. You have a cool chant, too. Shout out Organized Sound. Yeah.
All right. Well, I appreciate you coming through, man. And this has been The Future of with Finestro. He already plugged all his stuff, but I'm going to leave some links below, of course. And thanks for watching.